Okay, sorry about that. I guess I am out of room or something. I don't know. That's the second time it's done that. Whatever. So, anyways, but yeah, there's been a handful of times where I've watched an NDE, and it's been about, you know, actually a lot of it is people observing that happen, which is very interesting. So I remember one in particular where they were in heaven and they were walking around and they saw a father and son talking, and he knew enough to know that they were discussing, their situation, or the nature of their relationship on earth, and getting that all, hashed out. I remember hearing one where another time where they were observing, like, um, this is actually like an old story, that my mom told me, something that she had read in a book about, their experience in heaven. And it was a son who, uh, I guess he had murdered his mother, and she was already up there. And it was like she was up there, and then an angel came to her and was like, can you come with us? They were like, your son is here, and he's refusing to come in because, he didn't say because, but the context was, he knows what he did, and did not feel like he could come in there or whatever. And so she had to go get him and be like, tell him it was fine, that he could come in. So, these stories are profound because there's really no information like this on earth. People thinking about things like this on earth, about what does it look like for this thing to all be done, and, the for the lines between us to be gone, no matter what we've done to each other, as long as we've received Christ. Like, what does that even look like? And so the near death experiences is the only thing that I've ever seen that really addresses what that looks like. So even if you've got something like reincarnation that sort of supposedly deals with that, about the consequences of what you do on earth and all that stuff, it's like, well, you just go back as whatever. It's very isolated to you and whatever you did. And what happens to the people that you knew and loved? Do they, you all kind of disperse, and he becomes a cow and you become a whatever? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But anyways, um, so, for the Bible to go into detail about turning the other cheek and loving your neighbor and forgiveness and all of this, and then, to see that played out in heaven after you die, is really kind of an interesting thing. And, that is what you're trying to get to. That's what you have to really search yourself and think, is that what you desire to have, where you can talk and laugh and joke and be in communion with this person, and don't think that is something that you specifically have to do, something that you have to drum up. It's just like, hey, when God, when we're united with God, and you're like just full of his love, and you're, satisfied and perfect in all ways, y'all are going to be hanging out. And how do you feel about that right now? Like, what does that make you feel like right now? And, if it makes you feel a way, then you got to figure out what you're still holding on to. For me, it's basically like, it's not some profound, like, deep well of whatever. It's literally just like, I don't care. I don't care. As long as I'm with God, I'm with Jesus in heaven, I don't care. I don't care what you have done to me. You can be up there too. Let's all eat. It's not like we're all in abundance. We're in, like, in eternity. Like, it does not matter. So I don't need to feel any type of way about you being happy and content and having fulfillment. If I'm going to be in the same fulfillment, like, there's no need. So I think people, I don't know if people think about it too deep, or they just kind of, it's so long term that they can't really grasp like what it, what the forgiveness is going to do. It's basically just like we're all down here, we're playing roles in a movie about our lives, and then we go up there and we reflect on that role that we played. Um, and we don't have to hate ourselves. We don't have to hate our characters. We don't have to hate the other characters. Like, just think about how silly that would be we don't see the behind the scenes. We just see the finished product of a TV show. That's why this metaphor works so well. But like, how silly would it be for them to like be attached to those characters and still have like mental trauma whenever they see this other person that was also playing a character? Like, you got to think about it like that. Don't get stuck in the TV show. Don't get stuck in this one world that's the stage. We're going to go on, and we're going to, you should, whoever you're thinking about, whoever you're having trouble forgiving, it's like, imagine being able to go into that person's mind and see and understand and have the full context and feel for them, you know, and feel what they felt, and to be able to understand, and for them to fully be able to say, without defensiveness, without this, without that, or maybe you being able to fully see what you did, and what happened that made them interpret what you did a certain way, or you find out, oh snap, I was in the wrong in these other ways and I didn't realize that. Oh, that's bringing my aggression level way down because I didn't know that I was actually in the wrong. It was about 50-50. Wow, that's amazing. Like, being able to do that without having all of these toxic attached feelings associated with that, because you're not in your sinful body anymore. So the forgiveness is basically saying, I'm not, there's no way to resolve this now. And you don't want to resolve it here, because it's going to be flawed and imperfect. God's not going to be, even if God's involved, it's going to be just a mess. Like, whatever grievances you think you want to hold, let them go here, because they're of no use to you here. And then go, wait until after, where everything's in the light and everything can be seen, to draw a conclusion about it. So, I don't know. That's a little bit less. I just see a lot of, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. And forgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to whatever. And all of these things, these sort of motivational things. And it's like, if you want to break it down logically, or, try to carry it out to its end, like, it really just doesn't make sense to not forgive people, because you just don't know everything, and you can't possibly, you can't even get close. Like, for me, it's like, it's a bit delusional to think that you have enough evidence to bring a case against the person. That's, to me, what it is. So I think I've said that's a similar thing, like with my husband. It's like, I feel like, I'd bring something to God, and he was just like, do you feel like you have enough of a case against him? Because if you don't, then we gotta, if you do, we gotta do the same thing for you. And it's just like, ooh, well, maybe not. I don't know. Somebody's calling me, but I don't know what that is. So, so yeah, let God sort it out, because God is very interested in getting it sorted out. But he also knows that a lot of things can be chalked up to your sinful nature and your distorted eye. So, but no, that's a lot of stuff in the middle. On either side, there's extremes. There's extremes of things that have been done to you that are completely extreme, which oddly, I think, for survival purposes and just for just to be able to live in the world, those people seem to have a really firm grasp on forgiveness, um, and can do it a lot easier than the people in the middle who just kind of take for granted that, it could have been way worse, kind of. And then you've got another extreme on the other end where people are just so willing to cut people off at a moments, whatever. And on all of those places and all of that stuff, in between and all of that are the people of God, and you've got to decide, you've got to realize, you've got to zoom all the way out and realize, like, yes, you're on the earth, and what you feel is acute, and it's hard. It's not like you won't still have trauma. It's not like you won't still have problems that you didn't have before. It's not like those things, and God can take you privately through those and help you deal with each one of those things without bringing up that other person at all. Like, it literally won't even help you. He can do that. But either way, like, you've got to just, unforgiveness is just simply not an option. It's not an option. It doesn't make sense. It won't help you. You can't get anything resolved here, that's going to be good enough. If they did something legitimately to you, you cannot get legitimate restitution on this crappy crap planet. You have to go to heaven to get it, and God's going to remember it. Like, He's telling you to let it go. He's going to remember, but you guys to let it go. He can hold all of it. We cannot and should not, and we don't really have a case to do it, because everything we do is sinful all the time. So we are in a sinful state. It's kind of like if you're on a cruise or something, and you're in the middle of the ocean, and everything, it goes wrong, and like the electricity goes out and all that stuff. It's like there's no point in talking about and keeping track of how many times there were dirty towels. Like, the whole thing's a mess. Like, you're gonna get compensated, but you got to make it. You got to make it through the nightmare cruise. Like, this whole world is a nightmare cruise, and when we dock, we can talk about all of that stuff, and you don't need to keep track of it. Like, you'll literally drive yourself insane. Don't feel like don't get a perverse joy in keeping track of all the bad things that happen to you, and be like, oh, I'm gonna get something real big for this. Like, just really examine your heart, because it's like, no, it's already a nightmare cruise. Like, we don't need you going around with a clipboard being like, yep, that's broken, and oh wow, yeah, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it every single day. You're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make so much money. We're gonna sue the pants off of them. Like, it's too much. It's too much. We need morale to stay high. We need you. We need all hands to help get us through this thing. And then after we dock, if you still feel the way after you've been, like, compensated beyond your wildest imagination, then we'll talk about it. So yeah, that's just a slightly less emotional approach to it. Is just do it because it needs to be done. Forgiveness is not the weird thing. Unforgiveness is the weird thing. Like, why would, like, that's weird. Um yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's helping somebody. We'll see. But that's all I have to say about it, I think. Yeah.